Men are just thinking about how good it feels. They're not really thinking about, does she think I look pretty right now? Is my face making the right face? Does my hair look weird? He's thinking, oh my God, this feels so good. Oh my God, I like what she's doing. Welcome back. It's your host, Halli Smith, for another episode of Girlcore. Y'all are some freaky gals on there. I see a trend on TikTok saying we should do a rainbow kiss. And I was like, what the heck's a rainbow kiss, guys? I was shook when I saw what this is. It is when a woman is on her period and a guy goes down south to Australia, has some fun with the kitty cat, with the period flow all down there. It gets all over his face. Then he goes back up and starts to do a little smooching. They exchange the red flow on their faces. This is some freaky gal stuff. Even for me, I'm a mattress actress. I think I've seen it all. But that one, I personally have never been asked to partake in. That one's a little bit odd. That's some vampire shit. A random celebrity that I think would do this. It is so out of pocket. But I think Megan Fox, Miss Megan Fox and Machine Gun Kelly, her man, I think they would do this vampire shit. They already wore each other's blood on their neck. I think this is some next level shit. She would take advantage of the rainbow smooch by doing a little witchy shit because you're exchanging the red flow that could connect a man, make that man addicted to you, attached to you by sharing your period flow with a man. You're kind of doing a little witchcraft on him. He's going to become obsessed with you. So I could see Miss Megan Fox and her man taking partake in this. I mean, that's a very crazy assumption. I mean, it's no harm to Miss Freaky Gal. I understand, but I feel like they already partaked in a little bit of that vampire-esque energy. And I support that. I mean, you do you, babe. But I feel like Megan Fox would be a great fit to try the rainbow kiss. That is crazy. But it doesn't end there. The TikTok trend, the next thing I see, right after I see rainbow kiss, is freaking a snowball kiss. If you really want to be a freaky person, you can try a snowball smooch. Don't look it up because the videos you're going to see if you look up snowball kiss are wild. It's pretty much when a lady goes down south on a man's pink water bottle, right? Gets that frosting, okay, when he reaches the big O, gets the frosting in the mouth, right? But instead of eating the frosting or getting rid of frosting, the lady actually keeps it in the mouth and then goes back up to her man and spits back the frosting in his mouth. Yep. And then he swallows the frosting. Yep. It is a frosting switch. I guess it's a snowball because, it's white and it goes, yeah, but I don't know. But that is the snowball kiss. And that one is next level freaky. But you'd be surprised how many guys like this because I'm a mattress actress and I have had so many men tell me that they like to taste their own frosting from the cucumber, okay, from the pink water bottle. They like to taste their own frosting, even like to eat it sometimes. So I'm not surprised that they would want it back into the mouth. The frosting is definitely a crazy, freaky thing. I'm never one to yuck somebody's yum, but you can't knock it till you try it. I mean, I guess I would try a snowball kiss. I would try it as a bop. I feel like I'd be okay with filming that. If somebody was like, could you film this? I'd be like, yeah, sure. Why not? I'll try it. I don't have a problem with giving somebody back their own frosting. I personally wouldn't want to taste my own period like some people like to do with a rainbow smooch. I think a rainbow smooch is off limits for me. That's going to be a hard no. But a snowball, I could try that. I could exchange a little bit of, a little frosting mouth to mouth. That's not a problem for me, but it's definitely crazy. I mean, it's a trend too. Like, that's why I'm like, don't Google it because you're going to see videos of gals doing the snowball. And I don't know if you're ready for that. Maybe a little later on when the lights are low, the candles are lit, maybe you'll be in the mood to search up a snowball smooch. But in the meantime, we're not there. Now, speaking of snowballs and frosting, another subject that really brought into my mind this week. I had a conversation with my mom this week because we were on the phone and she was talking about, I just got my pap smear and I was switching my birth control. And then I remembered what happened the first time I had a pregnancy scare. Every woman pretty much has had a pregnancy scare and especially remembers exactly what happened to the moment when they freaked out. Mine was so bad that I got rushed to the hospital because of my pregnancy scare. Yeah, so I had a bunch of family over for the weekend, little family bonding. I was making breakfast for everybody. I was making some banana pancakes, my favorite. And this is when I was probably like 17 years old. Previously, a few weeks back, I went to Pound Town with a guy and I'm flipping my pancakes. And I was kind of thinking back to during Pound Town because I was like, oof, I kind of had been bad at taking my pill, the pregnancy pill. I wasn't taking it. I was super bad at being on time with that. And I remember that day I hadn't taken it. And I started thinking about that. And I was like, shit, like I forgot to take the pill that day. We used protection, but what if it broke? And then I started to feel something in my stomach and I was like getting a cramp in my stomach and I started to feel really sick. I remember looking at the pancake and I'm about to flip it. And then I hear one of my family members come into the kitchen and they're holding a baby and they're like, say hi to Auntie Hallie. And my relative is bouncing their baby. I'm flipping the pancakes. I'm about to freak out because I think I'm pregnant. I start to feel lightheaded. I go to grab the baby's hand and then my world just starts going black. I start to fade out. I pass out in the middle of the kitchen, fall to the floor. Luckily, my relative, like, she catches me, like, right before my head hit the ground with one baby in her arm and the other hand catching me. I hear her screaming as I go down. So then I woke up. I have a pillow under my head. I'm on the kitchen floor. It's really cold. Somebody put a blanket on me, but I'm still shivering. And all my family surrounding me being like, "We need to call 911, call 911." And I'm like, "Holy shit, nobody called 911. We can't afford an ambulance up in here. This is America." So I'm like, "No, no, no." I sit up and I'm like, what just happened? And then I remember, oh my God, I think I'm pregnant. And then I start to feel woozy again, but I'm like, no. Everybody's panicking. They're like, "Halli, are you okay? What happened?" I was just like, "I don't know. I was just making the pancakes." I can't tell my family that doesn't know that I just, been going to Pound Town. I'm 17 years old, that I think I'm pregnant. That would be the last thing they want to hear. So I start freaking out. But my mom's like, "No, Halli, we have to take you to the hospital. We have to take you to the hospital." So I go to the emergency room. They run a bunch of tests. I'm shitting myself because I'm like ready to have a pregnancy test come back positive in front of my mother. They take my pee. I have to wait there for a minute and they come back in. The doctor sits down. He's like, "Well, okay, so you fainted, all that." And I was like, "Yep, please do not tell me that I'm about to be pregnant in front of my mom at 17 years old. I missed 16 pregnant, so I can't even be on the TV show." And he's like, "No, so we looked over everything. We didn't see anything. There's no pregnancy. There's nothing weird and out of normal." When I tell you guys, the weight off of my back was relieved. I was like, "Oh, I'm not pregnant." Woo, woo. I really thought. Turns out, after doing a bunch of blood work and things like that, I just happened to have low thyroid, which pretty much means like your thyroid is connected to your estrogen and progesterone levels and how much that releases. And I believe like your estrogen is connected to the thyroid. It's kind of like right here in the neck and it can affect you in different ways. I guess it caused me to have some fainting spells. I've actually fainted a lot. Like I'm a fainter. I haven't fainted in a while. Actually, I fainted like 6 months ago. It was at first connected to my low thyroid. I actually got that evened out. I'm back to normal thyroids. I'm all good on that. But yeah, I think that I was gonna be pregnant. I ended up fainting in the kitchen so bad at taking the pill in high school. Like I could not stay on top of that. I first got prescribed the pill, not for preventing pregnancy, but for my skin, for my acne. They gave me birth control. So I was already used to taking it, but I was so bad at taking it. I'd always forget and then I'll double dose or skip a dose or forget when I took it. So I would just take another. So when I actually did start going to Pound Town, I was like, "You know what, Halli, you can't trust yourself anymore. You can't trust yourself anymore on the pill." I was so bad at taking it. I was like, "You need to get something else." So I ended up getting the arm implant. That was the worst decision I ever made. The arm implant is pretty much like this little device that goes into your arm to prevent pregnancy. It's hormonal, so it can usually, they say, maybe stop your period. First of all, it did not stop my period. The arm birth control actually made my period go for 6, 7 months. And everybody was like, "Oh, don't worry. It'll even out. It's just your body adjusting." It then went another year of on and off bleeding almost every single month of almost every week that I was like, "Okay, it's time to switch this." My skin was breaking out like crazy. It was terrible. And then I go to the doctors, the same doctor's office that I always went to, the one that I thought I was pregnant at. Well, I go to the doctors to get the arm birth control removed because I was like, "I'm breaking out like crazy. My period hasn't stopped and I'm just nonstop bleeding and I'm just dealing with a lot. I don't want this anymore. Take it out and give me the IUD." So they take it out, they begin getting the nurse in, and she's like, "Actually, we have a trainee with us today. Do you mind if she's in the room with you while you get the birth control out of your arm? She's still learning, so we just want her to watch and supervise." And I was like, "Yeah, no worries." And they're like, "Great, all right. So we're just gonna take out your arm birth control today. It's gonna be really easy." They put a little numbing cream. I'm not usually one to be scared of blood or anything like that. Whenever I get my blood drawn, even since I was a kid, my mom thought it was crazy because I never cared. I like to watch it. I think it's very fascinating when they take your blood. Like, it's just the process is very unique and scientifically speaking, it's cool. So I was always fascinated by this. I was never scared of that. Well, they start to begin, numbing it. And then they're like, "We're just going to make a small incision." But because she had that new nurse training and supervising my birth control removal, they were going to describe every single step that they were doing during the process. So she was like, "Okay, now we take the knife and we're going to cut her skin. Yep, just a quarter like that. Yep, just like that. You see how I did that? Yes. And then you're going to make the incision underneath. You'll see this. Yep." So she was just describing it, the blood, the process. And that kind of started to freak me out a little bit, but it wasn't that bad. I wasn't like, "Oh, okay." But I started to feel like, oof, okay, I'm just not going to try to listen. I'm going to try to look away and do my own thing. And then she's like, "All right, okay, now you see we have it underneath. Yeah, do you want to look over, ma'am? You can see it." And I look over, and underneath me, she kind of wiggles the birth control because she's inside my arm. She wiggles the birth control, and seeing that move underneath your skin, like something random, a device moving underneath your skin, it made me literally pass out and faint. Again, I'm just fainting all over the place, guys. I faint though, right there. I'm out. I can't take it. I wake up, the doctor, she had her little like these smelly packets, like these salt things. They smell super intense in front of my nose. And the nurse was petting my head, "Wake up, sweetie, wake up." And she's like, "Well, we're having a little bit of difficulty. Where did you get this, inserted?" I got it done here. I got it done at this doctor's office, actually, with one of your doctors. And she was like, "Oh, okay, no worries, no worries. It's just kind of deeper in there than we thought it was gonna be. It's just gonna take us an extra second." So the other nurse kind of has to like grab my arm and start pushing it while the other nurse is getting the tweezers digging into my skin to get out the little device of birth control. After that, I was lightheaded, dizzy, nauseous. I wasn't doing so good. Eventually, they got the birth control out and I was like, "Thank God." And then I had to wait a little bit. I got the new IUD, and then when you get the IUD, because I did the hormonal one, you actually have to wait a little bit before you can have sex because hormonal birth control takes a little bit of time to acclimate in your body and start working. It takes about 2 weeks on hormonal birth control, but if you get a copper IUD, you actually don't have to worry about that. The copper IUD is immediately effective, whereas the hormonal IUD is not immediately effective, so I had to wait a little bit, but everything was fine. I didn't have to worry about any more pregnancy scares because that shit was taken out of me between the process of fainting when I first thought I was pregnant and then having to switch my birth control and then get new things and try new things. It was a complete shit show. Let me tell you this, during my younger days, whenever I thought that I could be pregnant, because when you first start going to Pound Town, you just get this irrational fear that you're with child all the time. Like you're not even late on your period and you're already like, "I'm pregnant. I think my tits are tender. My stomach hurts." When you're young, you just think you're always pregnant, no matter what. You have a headache and you're like, "I'm pregnant." I would freak out whenever I had a pregnancy scare when I was first going to Pound Town. It's just a thing that girls go through. You just have this irrational fear because you're not used to how to handle these things. You've never done it before. And they always talk about teen pregnancies. So you're like, "I don't want to be that teen pregnancy." So I was just super cautious. Every single day, I would chug ginger shots in the morning because I read on Google that would prevent pregnancy and it was a natural birth control. So I would chug ginger shots as well as I would drink like 3 cups of hibiscus tea a day because I read that the hibiscus root is really good at preventing pregnancy. So I would drink hibiscus tea, I would take ginger shots. Like I made sure like I was on top of my shit. And then I would take my birth control because I just had such an irrational fear of being pregnant. I would freak out. I would do birth control tests like every single month. Like you're supposed to do it if you think you're pregnant about 2 weeks after to 21 days after the Pound Town event if you think you're pregnant. So I would take one every single time after my period ended, just in case. I would go to the Dollar Tree and pick up 15 little birth control packs. These people probably thought I was crazy, but I would buy them all. And then every single month, I would take the birth control test after my period because they say you could do it after menstruating. I would take the birth control test and see if I was pregnant because I was so scared of getting pregnant. And now it's funny because I don't even like worry about it. I really trust the IUD. Obviously, IUD babies are possible. People say they get pregnant on an IUD. It's happened, but I have a lot more faith in it and I understand a lot more my body, how it works, the ovulation cycle. It scares me a little bit less. Thank goodness, because having a pregnancy scare is insane. Speaking of embarrassing pregnancy scares, one of my close friends, she was on a vacation with her family, right? They were all in this super tiny little RV and they're supposed to go like across, the states in this little RV. So it's just her and her siblings, her mom and dad. RVs, they're all one room. They have like one little tiny room that's separate, and then the rest is all a shared area. So one night, she thinks she's pregnant because she's been active with her man, and she's telling her older sister, and she's like, "You know what? I think I might be with child." And her sister's like, "What? You got to take a test. You got to tell mom." So she's like freaking out. She doesn't know that her mom is awake and her mom is listening in the RV to everything she's saying. And she hears her say it. So the next day, her mom confronts her. She can't even run away from her mom. They're all in one room. My friend starts breaking down crying. She's like, "I'm sorry. I've been active. I've been going to Pound Town. I know you guys don't want me to, but I've been safe. I've been using protection." And she's just crying. And her mom's like, "Well, this is embarrassing. We're going to have to handle this. You got to be an adult. You shouldn't be active if you can't take care of these things and use protection." After this whole mental breakdown in front of her parents, she gets grounded. Her parents are super pissed. For months, she was in trouble. The next day after this happens, her period starts. Turns out she wasn't pregnant. Her period was just a little bit later than normal. But girl freaked the fuck out and ended up getting herself in so much trouble when if she just waited one day, she would have been in the clear. But Life when you're young, you make stupid mistakes like that. The list could go on for dumb things that I was grounded for that in hindsight I could have been a little bit smarter about and worked my way around. It's scary being a girl, but if you ever think that you're pregnant, just be smart. This is a warning that don't freak out because you want to panic, you want to get crazy. When you think you're pregnant, it's really scary, especially if that's not where you want to be in your life. It depends how, you and your partner, your relationship, if you're even ready to have a child. But at the end of the day, if you do have a pregnancy scare and you think you might be with child, just remember to breathe and calm down. It's really scary, especially because it feels like the weight of a pregnancy, finding out you're pregnant or knowing if you're pregnant, all of that weighs on women. Usually, men don't have to deal with that. Half the time, women don't even tell their partner that they thought they were pregnant or that they were freaked out that they might have been pregnant because they just don't want to bother them with it. So, women take on so much of the weight of that responsibility. It is so important to talk to your friends, to talk to your partner about what you think what's going on. And if you think you're pregnant, you need to tell them because they can help calm you down. And even if you're not, they can still help calm you down. Even if they know, like, girl, you're on birth control, we use protection, we did everything, there's no way you're pregnant. Hopefully, they can help you calm down and realize it's okay. Like, there could be so many things going through your head. All you can do is wait. All you have to do is just, keep track of your cycle and then wait until you can take the pregnancy test. If you take it immediately when you think you're pregnant, the day after you just went to Pound Town with somebody, it's not going to give you an accurate response. And I know it's scary and you want to know right away, but you have to wait. Usually, I would say about a week after your period is usually a good time. Have a regular period, just 21 days from the date that you guys were intimate to take a pregnancy test. Because if you take it too soon, it's not going to come back accurate. Like, even if you're like, I just want to know, taking it a day after, a week after, it's not going to be accurate. You have to wait. It's scary, but you just have to do it and try to talk to your friends, talk to your partner about the stress because so many women take on this stress alone. They take on the scares of pregnancy. They don't talk to their partner. They don't want to burden them, but you need to have this release. And also, if you are getting intimate with somebody, it is also their responsibility to take on that burden of having the discussion and having the worry. It's not just supposed to all be on the woman. It takes two to tango, as they say. It wasn't done alone. Always remember you can talk to your partner about that. Never feel like it's a burden. I don't want to tell them. I don't want to scare them. Just tell them, even if you're like, I know this is irrational. I know I'm freaking out and we did all the right steps. We used protection, but I'm just a little nervous. All right, guys, it's that time of the show. It is Q&A time. Guys, I love your submissions. You always give me the funniest questions and you really get me thinking of great new content ideas. So never stop. I love your questions. Never feel dumb. I get so many things like, I don't want to bother you, or I don't know if this is stupid. There's no stupid questions, guys. All right, first question. I'm currently binging the fuck out of your podcast. Thank you. My man always finishes from our sex, and he constantly asks me what he has to do to make me finish, and I just don't know. I've never had such good sex with somebody, but I don't know. Help me. Ladies, if you are struggling to finish in the bedroom and your partner's like, please, I want to give you this. I want to make you happy. I want to please you. The problem is most women are going into intimacy and they're letting the guy take over, kind of tell them what to do. They let him pound them. I want you to pound him, okay? Take him to Pound Town. Focus on getting your little tree nut first before you give him his. Ladies usually in the bedroom just don't really focus on themselves. They don't really think about like, what could I do in this moment to enhance my pleasure? Instead, they're constantly thinking about what can I do to make it feel better for him? But does my face look pretty? Is my chin look weird? Like, is my ass arched enough? Instead, we're thinking all these things on how to make his pleasure better instead of focusing on ours. Ladies, if you are struggling to finish, you need to focus on your intimacy first, and you need to focus on pounding him, not letting him take you to Pound Town. When you're up there, if you're on top and you're like, I need a little more stimulation right now, reach down with your hand and start rubbing the kitty cat. Focus on the pearl. Or take his hands and put them on your chest when you're up top and make him start squeezing, or bring his head to your girlies and make him give a little kissies right there. Direct him where you want it. You are going to take him to pounding. Even if you're lying down, ladies, and he's giving it to you in classic missionary, I want you to be active in that moment. Don't just lie there like a fish, like a starfish, okay? You are going to enhance it. You are going to take his hips and pull them at the speed that you want to show him what you want. Or you can even slip your hand down in that pose when he's over you and give a little DJ set to your kitty cat to the pearl spot on the clit to make sure you're getting some action. It might be like, oh, I don't know if I can reach my hand in during missionary because he's kind of squishing me. But trust me, you can slip a hand right there and just lightly be like rubbing it. You can't really lift it, but you can add some pressure on the pearl. You need to take charge. Most likely why you're not finishing is you're in your head a little bit and you're trying to focus on him and making sure he feels good and making sure you look pretty for him. But I want you to focus on you. Don't think about how you look. There is no moment ever in the bedroom that I have ever been told or ever talked to a guy and he was like, "Yeah, I was just looking at her bouncing on top of me and thinking about those double chin she had." That is not happening. When a guy has you in front of him, he is just gonna be thinking about, damn, she looks so beautiful. Her curves, her hair, her face, like that feels so good. Men are just thinking about how good it feels. They're not really thinking about, does she think I look pretty right now? Is my face making the right face? Does my hair look weird? He's thinking, oh my God, this feels so good. Oh my God, I like what she's doing. Oh my God, her girlies, they look so good. And that's what I want you to do. Stop focusing on him and start focusing on you. Have a little solo time. Do a little masturbation, okay? You need to figure out what you like and how to get your own O before you can tell somebody else how you want it. If you aren't self pleasing and doing solo time, you need to implement it into your weekly routine. At least twice a week, focus on a little you time and doing a little DJ set down there. Feel all over, try different poses, try sitting up, maybe try elevating with some pillows under your hips while you do a little DJ set. Mix it up and really feel and learn what you like. This is your challenge. If you are struggling to finish, I want you to take him to Pound Town. I want you to stop caring about his pleasure and what he thinks and how you look. Focus on implementing more solo time and more one on one time with yourself into figuring out what you need to reach that O. I had one of my close friends. She was struggling to reach the O with herself and with her partner. And I told her, you need to every night, like every other night, try to work on some you time. Light the candles, take a bath, give yourself a massage, something that helps you calm down, listen to some relaxed music, and maybe listen to a spicy podcast, watch something, read something. There are so many ways to work on getting your O and figuring out what you need to orgasm and masturbate and have fun in the bedroom to then take what you learned by yourself and bring it to him so you can show him what you like and dislike. And then you can really enhance your guys' pleasure together. And it's really hot if a guy sees you pleasing yourself and feeling good when you guys are having intimacy. He's gonna be like, yeah, I did that. Like, yeah, she feels good. I feel good. The more you feel good, the more he feels good. All right. Next question. Hi, I've been listening to your podcast and I just need some more tips on giving that good pink water bottle because my boyfriend wants me to, get down there, but I don't really like it. I want to please him, but if there's anything else I can do, any tips, any options, similarly. Okay, if you're like, I really don't like going down on the pink water bottle, it's just not for me. I think most of the time, like, you kind of have to practice and get used to a guy's area. I feel like girls were just so not used to it, like we have a pretty little flower and they just have this super aggressive thing looking at us, intimidating. It's all up in your face. It's all out there. We're not used to it. We don't really know what to do with it at first, and we don't really want to go down there. Try to warm up with more smooching sessions, grazing down there on the boxers, teasing, grazing your hands, getting used to the familiarity, what it feels like. If you really just don't like going down, that's okay. Not everybody does. It's not like you have to. I would just take their cucumber instead of using your mouth, maybe doing a little CPR on the pink water bottle. And instead, you can always try just a classic handy. Handies are really fun. You can really get it nice and messy, make sure it's nice and slippery, and you can really mix it up, whether it's just your hand or maybe you take the cucumber, slap it on your face, maybe your tongue, whatever you like, you can kind of enhance it. Both hands, have some fun twists and play with the tennis balls always. And you don't have to fully go over it with your mouth if you're like, I just don't really feel comfortable. It's not my favorite thing to do. I would say once in a while, give it a try. Maybe you're just not doing it at the right time when you're not in the mood enough. Make sure you're really in the mood and want your partner. I think that going down on a guy is more work because you're pretty much stuffing your throat, which is a really weird feeling. And most ladies are not used to the feeling. It feels uncomfortable. So if you're really not in the mood, that is not going to be fun. It's better to try to go down on the pink water bottle when you're super in the mood, when you've really got pent up. Maybe they've gone down on you for a bit, down south to the kitty cat after they've pleased me. I'm like, okay, bet you just did that for me. I want to show you how good I can do it for you. So try to do it like when you're in that moment. Maybe it'll help you get more comfortable with it and just kind of more desire to please. What should I expect when I lose my V card for the first time? I'm 18, but my boyfriend and me have discussed having intimacy before, but I've heard some stories that have kind of freaked me out, and I don't really understand why the experience is so desired. I'm very small, and my boyfriend is over a foot taller than me. Lots of my friends have told me it will hurt, and I'm just really scared of what to expect. It is completely normal to be anxious and nervous the first time. you think about having intimacy with your partner. It happens to all of us. The best thing you can do to really focus on conquering that fear is to first of all educate yourself, fully understand the anatomy of your body, and really work on having some solo time with yourself, doing a little DJ set, getting used to having your body felt and understood by yourself. Because first, knowing yourself will really help you get comfortable to having somebody else start to, feel around and get intimate. The main thing about your V card is your discomfort level kind of depends on so many different factors, such as how relaxed you are, how slippery, lubed up it is down there, making sure it's not dry, making sure you can relax your own body. Tensing your muscles is going to make it tighter, and then you're just going to feel more pain. So, really learning about these things beforehand can help you better prep for the first time you lose your V card. You want to make sure that you learn how to relax your body, do some deep breathing, focus on your breath, because lots of people, when they're tense, stop breathing, hold your breath, you tense up. And then if they're trying to, for the first time, use their pink water bottle and go inside your kitty cat, you're going to be super tight, super tense, and anxious. So focus on learning how to do some deep breathing, how to relax your body muscles, really focus on talking and communicating with your partner about what you're nervous about. Like, I'm just scared it's going to hurt. You can make sure that you use a lot of time to warm up, to take your time, and do it step by step. You don't have to lose your V card all at once. It doesn't have to be this whole thing of you, immediately are going to go from first base to third base. When you lose it for the first time, I would instead do it little by little. At first, with your partner, you go from smooching, then you guys give some fun down south to each other, work on just giving and receiving head on the kitty cat, get used to that feeling, get used to feeling each other and learning each other slowly, and then build up to full on P in the V. Maybe one day you guys are just smooching and giving to each other, and you can just try just the tip. You can just let it sit there, kind of soak like the Mormons do. But you can break up little by little, going further and further. It doesn't have to be all the way or no way. I think lots of people are stuck into the idea that if you lose your V card, you're going to just do it all that day. You're going to get their entire cucumber all the way up the kitty cat. That's not necessary. Most importantly, communicating with your partner, as well as having a supportive partner who's going to listen to your needs and really want to please you and make sure you're comfortable, as well as making sure they're comfortable. Especially if you both have never gotten intimate with somebody else, it's important to talk to each other and know that each of you are feeling good, and to check in routinely during that first time. Don't feel weird if you're like, does this feel good? Do you like that? Do you not like that? Do you want more, softer, harder? Use so many check-in words throughout the process of your first time on both sides to make sure that both of you, when you lose your V card, location matters, but most importantly, choosing the right time when you have the time, not when, one of your parents are going to be gone from the house and you have 25 minutes. No, 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 no. That's not going to work. You're going to be too stressed. You're going to be too anxious. When you lose it for the first time, it's not going to be complete fireworks. It's not going to change your life in that way for the most part. But it is still a nice, intimate experience that should be honored with enough time and a good setting, somewhere comfortable, somewhere private. Especially for you ladies, we need to relax, to release that tension, and to let it feel good. And don't feel embarrassed if there's any bleeding or things like that. It happens if your hymen hasn't broken. So you might have a little blood, just put a towel down, you can kind of tell him before, like, it might bleed a little bit, it sometimes happens. He'll understand. If he doesn't, red flag. Sometimes women experience it for the first few times they have sex, it's multiple times when they're new, and then eventually it stops, but it can happen. Hi, girl. Me and my man were getting hot and heavy, but I felt like I really had to go pee beforehand. The only problem is I didn't want to kill the vibe. So I was just like, whatever, I can just hold it. Well, next thing I know, he's going down south on my kitty cat, giving me that good finger action. And right when I'm about to finish, I'm about to reach my O, I accidentally spray all over him and give him a golden shower. I mean, absolutely everywhere. He thought it was so hot and thought that I was actually squirting and that it was just regular spray. He doesn't know that it was actually pee. I didn't want to tell him, and I haven't told him. Is this normal? Oh my gosh. So if you accidentally pee on somebody, it is okay. It can happen when you're getting intimate, okay? You're near the same muscles, you're relaxing that muscle. You might accidentally have that happen, especially if you're about to O. Now, sometimes, ladies, if you think you're about to, use the restroom, it could actually mean you just, hitting the big G and you're about to spray. Well, for her, she knew she was not spraying. She knew she had to go to the bathroom. It happens. Yes, it's embarrassing. Yes, it might be gross if somebody does not like golden showers, but luckily for you, your man never knew. So there's nothing to worry about. In the future, ladies, never feel embarrassed if you have to pause going to Pound Town because you have to go pee. This is completely normal. You might accidentally pee all over them if you don't. And you don't want to have a UTI. Just be like, okay, 1 second, sweetie. You just keep rubbing yourself. I'll be right back. Go pee real quick and then run back in like, hey baby, okay, and then just go back to work and act like everything's normal. Never feel embarrassed having to pause intimacy and ask to go to the bathroom. It's completely normal, and your partner will probably be happy if you let them know so that you don't pee on them because that's really embarrassing and they might be a little bit annoyed by that. All right, guys. That wraps up this amazing episode of Girlcore. I had so much fun with you. If you want to listen more, you can check out Hero Hero for my Wednesday episodes there. I did a really fun one last week talking about fun sex games you can play, so you can check it out there on Hero Hero. It'll all be linked down below, but if not, feel free to ask any questions at the end of the show. DM me. If not, I'll catch you next week for another episode of Girlcore on Sundays.